What's good? What's good? It is Drayton Jackson. Conversations with Dre, DraytonJackson.com. Oh, man. We are on this series, Father Empowerment. Let me just say this. I want to get this out real quick. I've heard some comments about I'm saying father, and then there's a difference between father and dad. Look, there's no labels. Stop putting labels on me. Your dad, your father, your father. I don't care what the definition says. Whatever your child wants to call you is what it is. If you're papa, be papa. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, that's what you're going to be. All right. So the thing of fathers, dads, when I say that, I'm talking about all males that are doing male things, whatever that gender or whatever that looks like. Then if you associate with that, then that's what you associate with. All right. So just to get that out the way real quick. So once again, we on the fatherhood empowerment. And I think that it's a real conversations that we are having, man. Daily, we went over a lot of things. And today, I just want to give a shout out, man, to my stay-at-home dads, my stay-at-home fathers. Yo, it's a great thing. I love what I'm seeing, man, as far as fathers really stepping up to the game. And I wanted to deal with, the Pew research that happened in 2014 that I think show where we are going as society. These generations of where the woman is just home and the man had to go out and work, all of that stuff being shattered and taken away, which, I really respect, because no matter what you can do, if you can do the job, do the job. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn. If you could put it up, put it up. And I think the same thing goes with men. You know what I'm saying? Cooking, cleaning, and rearing children and stuff like that. It's stuff that we got to stop being scared of and letting society dictate to us what to do. So in a Pew research, right, in 2014 by Gretchen Livingston, the title's Growing Number of Dads Home with the Kids, Biggest Increase Among Those Caring for Families. The one thing that is very interesting when we talk about this is that for years, single mothers have been getting praised. Single mothers have been standing out. I'm a single mother. I'm doing it all by myself or whatever it may be. And I think that the whole aspect of stay-at-home fathers is in that same type of vein where, fathers are really doing it. And we have to just, give a good clap to say, yo, you're doing a great job. So in this Pew research, they said this. I'm quoting it from it. It's going to be on DraytonJackson.com. We'll be able to see the whole research article. The number of fathers who do not work outside the home has risen in recent years, up to 2 million in 2012. High employment rates around the time of the Great Recession contributed to the recent increase. But the biggest contributor to long-term growth in this stay-at-home fathers is the rising number of fathers who are at home primarily to care for their family. And that's a big saying, because when you talk about long-term growth in these days, is stay-at-home fathers is rising because they want to stay at home with their family. And I think that that's a critical point, to really make, is that this is a choice. My ex-wife, when we was both going to John Jay, she would go in the daytime, I would go at night. So right there, 59th Street in New York City, I have my daughter during the day. We didn't have money for pre-K, and boom, right at 59th Street, I'm handing my daughter and she's going home and I'm going to class. One of the biggest things that it became such a struggle, because when it came time for her to study and it came time for me to study, it was the same thing. So I was getting out of school late, and here it is, I'm tired. It's like we made a choice to say, you know what? You go to school, finish up, I'm going to stay at home, knock things out. And that led to my ex-wife being able to study more, which was cool. But then it also gave me and my daughter time to spend with each other and really do that. Now, even today, when my two sons, having somebody watch your child is just expensive. That's why we need Head Start. Just saying it. We need Head Start. So the key thing that I find, in today's, we made a choice. And the choice that we made is like, all right, my wife had a good job that she can go to and it can hold down for a minute. You go head to work. I'm going to stay home, deal with the children. I love it. It gives me time, especially with sons. It gives me time to chill with them and really get in close with them and everything else that we're doing. So it was a decision that I think on my end, it was really good. Stay at home and make that decision. And I think that's a critical thing with stay-at-home dads to know. So listen, we're gonna take the first commercial break and come back. Conversations with Dre, the father empowerment session. We still going on. And we talking about stay-at-home dads. All my stay-at-home dads, shout you out, baby. Today's show is brought to you by Gather Together, Grow Together at G2G2.org, helping low-income and homeless people in Kitsap County. Welcome back. Conversations with Dre, Drayton Jackson, DraytonJackson.com. We're on our father empowerment series. I think, there's some good stuff when we have to empower ourselves as fathers and other people that, respect and love their fathers, love their dads, and a male figure in their life that is just strong. We need that empowerment sometimes. We need that pat on the back, that hug, same way everybody else does. So this is where we at. And we just doing some facts on our stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home fathers. We really I've dived into it that, the dynamics have changed, right? The dynamics has really changed. So you have a lot more women working, a lot more men staying at home. And what we was talking about in the Pew Research was that it was a choice. A lot of them made the choice. Like I said, my ex-wife and I, we made that choice so she could finish up college. And it was easy for me to do that, to stay at home while she finished up. And then we made another choice with my wife now. Boom, I have to stay at home because, childcare costs too much for our youngest son. These decisions that we're making as fathers is showing a lot to what's going on in society with women having better jobs. That's one. And mothers having better jobs. And then just times have changed. So what the Pew Research was, I think 2014, if I'm not mistaken, right? 2014, we'll have the whole research on the website so you can just look it out. Read it for yourself. There's a lot of deep stuff, but I just wanted to take out some stuff that I thought was very valid in this conversation. So while most stay-at-home parents, this is still coming from the Pew Research, is while most stay-at-home parents are mothers, fathers represent a growing share of all at-home parents, 16% in 2012. That's up from 10% in 1989. So roughly a quarter of these stay-at-home fathers, 23%, report that they are home mainly because they cannot find a job. So 23% cannot find a job. There's no job for their skill, whatever that skill may be that they have. Now, 21% say the main reason for them at home is to care for their home or their family. So like I said, that goes back to what they said in the beginning. That's a decision that men are making today. Men are making, you have some fathers that may have the degree, can get a good job, but for whatever reason, they just feel that it's necessary for them to stay at home, especially if both parents are working or if one is going to a school, pursuing an education or whatever it may be. What this says, too, is that this represents a fourfold increase from 1989, when only 5% of stay-at-home fathers said they were home primarily to care for their family. So that means that 5% of the men in 89 was like, nah, I'm staying home for other reasons, right? I'm not staying home because I want to. You know what I'm saying? So, you sitting there and you look at like, damn, it changed dramatically now, right? But check this out. Here you go. I asked this question like, well, what's the others that are staying home? So it says still in the research that the largest share of stay-at-home fathers, 35%, is at home due to illness or disability. So this is a sharp contrast to stay-at-home mothers, most of whom 73% report that they are home specifically to care for their home or family. Just 11% are home due to illness and disability. Let me say this, a shout out to my women's on this. Any guy or any male could, understand. They're what they say, your mom can't be sick, right? Mothers don't call in sick at all. There ain't nobody caring for them or taking care of them. So I believe that they off on the numbers. That's just me saying that because I believe that there's a lot of women that are hurting and staying at home. They're not saying it because it's expected. That's just what I'm going to say about it, that, it's expected. So basically, when we look back at that time, men were forced to stay at home. So they had a disability or they were ill. And it's like, no, you have to stay at home. You get what I'm saying? So I think that that's a great point of pointing out that we're making that choice now. I think, looking at ourselves today, we know that there's so much that we can do now as fathers. We're not just to go out and, quote unquote, breadwinners and doing that and having all the pressure on us. And it's being shared. It's being shared because I think that there's conscious decisions for women to go to work too. For all you fathers, that, stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home fathers, this is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? If you're staying home because you want to stay home and contribute to your family. And I think that it plays, especially if you have a male children and you're staying at home with them and spending that time or being there when they leave school or go to school and then you're there when they're home. It's an excellent, scenario. So we're going to take another break. I'll be right back. Drayton Jackson, Conversations with Dre. We're talking about fathers that are stay at home. Stand up. Stand up. Today's show is brought to you by Gather Together, Grow Together at G2G2.org, helping low-income and homeless people in Kitsap County. What's good? Welcome back. Conversations with Dre, DraytonJackson.com. We are still on our father empowerment series, and today we're talking about stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home fathers. It is interesting to see the data that has changed. Our whole home, the way that the household is today is changing. You have mothers and women that are working now and making good money. A lot of things that are being chosen by men to stay at home and care for their children and their family, man. And I think it's a great thing when you make that choice as a father to say, you know what, I'm going to hold the fort down here. You go do what you got to do. That's a man. You know what I'm saying? That's a real man. I think society, we have to get away from what it was back in the days of, oh, you have to go to work or you're not a man if you don't and all of that stuff. So I think that, you know, we're on a good part to know that the data has changed over the years. It's not been researched a lot. Like, you know, the Pew research is from 2014. I'm going to have that for you on the website. You can download it, check it out. And I just think that there's a lot of things that are going on in society that is just, you know, really there. So I wanted to see in today where we were at with a lot of things, but I couldn't find anything. There was Forbes magazine, the closest I get to in 2017, by Neela Godfrey, called The Stay-at-Home Dad Syndrome. In this article, she basically points it out back to the Pew in research, and that's the only thing you find. So she just starts off with this. I want to read this part to you from her. She said, "There is no clear data on the number of stay-at-home dads because the Census Bureau does not define that category." So the U.S. Census Bureau is not even tracking it, right? So ain't nobody going out and asking, which, you know, I don't understand. But the most recent data goes back to the Pew in 2013. But now, check this out. If you're a stay-at-home dad, you know, you may want to check this out. I went through the site a little bit, didn't dive deep into it, but I definitely going to look at it more. I like some information they had on there. But the National At-Home Dad Network, crazy. The National At-Home Dad Network is the one that's saying that they believe that there are 7 million fathers that are primarily caregivers. The point is that the stay-at-home dad is a growing trend. It's increasing not only because dads want to be more involved with their kids, it's rising because of economic challenges as well. That's what the Forbes article says. And so, you know, I wanted to just really dive in. So I went over there at the National At-Home Dads Network. The website link will be up there. I think it's a good website to go to. I didn't dive deep into it, but what I saw and information I think was really good. And it's kind of good that we have some place that represents us, right? So if you're a stay-at-home dad and, you know, you don't have any connections with anybody that's like you, there's no real understanding of what you may be going through and what they may be going through. I'll never forget, like, I would literally go to the park in Brooklyn, right? Downtown Brooklyn Heights. I would take my, at the time, two daughters. I had Takaya and I had Kamani, right? So I was with them during the day. Take them down to the park. And I literally would be the only man in this park, right? And it's you know, it's right there by the Brooklyn Promenade. And I would sit there, but the caregivers of all of these children from these families, they will all be together. And, you know, and then, the white women that had their children that were stay-at-home mothers, they would be all together. And here it is, I was sitting on the bench by myself, you know, but the children were playing all together. But, you know, I was just chilling there. So I wind up, as I kept making that my spot over the summer to go to, I wound up really making friends with everybody. But it's always good to have something that's yours and the crew that you hang out with have the similarities. So the National At-Home Dad Network, you know, I definitely saw it, and I think it's a good place if you're a stay-at-home dad to go check out. But they said this, and I want you to really listen to what I'm saying, and then we're going to come back and really go deeper into something. They said their definition of a stay-at-home dad, right? A father who is the daily primary caregiver of his children under the age of 18. This is the definition that the National At-Home Dad Network uses to define what a stay-at-home dad is and what the public would generally agree. And then this is what they end off with. I want you to understand this. And when you go to the website, you'll see it, right? It says, it is very important to note that a stay-at-home dad is not defined by his employment status. Oh my God, I agree so much. And it goes back to the Pew research, right? So many of us as dads are choosing to stay home, right? I brought up my ex-wife and us going to school and then having our daughter. And then I brought up my wife now having the youngest, and we can't afford childcare. So, it's an interesting part, but we're going to come back because I want to touch into an article that the American Progress Organization kind of put out dealing with mothers and breadwinners. So it kind of goes to what they're saying about like employment is not the only reason. All right. DraytonJackson.com. This is Drayton Jackson and Conversation with Dre. Hold on. We'll be right back. Today's show is brought to you by Cars Auto Repair at 3740 Wheaton Way in Bremerton, Washington. Fixing cars in Kitsap County for more than 10 years. Give Chris a call, 360-561-1566. What's good with you? It is Drayton Jackson, DraytonJackson.com, and we're here talking about our stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home fathers. And I mean, it's great conversation because I think that the dynamics of society has changed. More women are working than ever, and men are choosing to stay at home. And a lot of different things have made that decision happen, whether it's economics or whether it's just wanting more time with children, which over the years, men, we have missed out on a lot of time with our children. So, if you think about it and what has been said in the research that's showing, the Pew Report really broke it down all the way, and it gave us some great statistics. But remember, the Pew was done in, I want to say, let's say 2014. So if you have it in 2014, they were talking about unemployment. They were talking about all of the things that made guys really stay at home. And then we find that majority of them were forced back then in 1989 because of illness or disability. So, you start to really understand that things have changed. And over the years, I think men have really understood that it's okay for us to stay at home. It's not something that we have to listen to what society says and be looked at weird or funny, right? The Stay at Home Dad Network, which is a website that is dedicated to men that stay at home. Over there, like I said, I didn't really dive into the website, but I liked what I saw. A couple articles I read, went into some statistics, but they put this out on their definition, which I really, respect. And it says, it is very important to note that a stay-at-home dad is not defined by his employment status. And when I looked at that, I was like, that's true. Because they say, oh, you can't find a job. Oh, you're broke. So you stay at home, especially us in the black community. Black men are constantly, a lot of times people don't, I get that now. I get that, oh, well, where's your wife? Oh, she's at work. And I'm with my son and we're walking around and I can just tell in there, lazy ass, you know what I'm saying? So we get the stigma of what society has. And I know women have gotten that over the years, but it was a societal thing. You know what I'm saying? That was what happened. A woman stayed at home. That was her job. That was her place, especially in America. So, God forbid if you wanted to do something intelligent on your own as a woman, right? You know what I'm saying? No, you couldn't do it. So thing is that the decision and those things that play into our decision is more about love now and more about wanting to give to the family in another way. Because just going out and work and being a breadwinner and caring for your family, I do a session that I train when I go and I talk to males about taking care of your family and bringing in the money. It's more than that. The thing that I found very interesting when I was looking for data today, and of course, they say it, there is no data. The Census Bureau does not even consider or have a place that records stay-at-home fathers. So there's no real data besides this Pew research that was done, right? So, but then I went out and I was like, all right, well, let me see what's going on today in 2018. And the closest I got is the American Progress Report was dealing with mothers are increasingly the U.S. norm. So breadwinners, that's what the title of it is, breadwinning. Mothers are increasingly the U.S. norm. So now here it is, Sarah Jane Glenn in 2016 said this, and this is the whole thing when we go to society making those changes. Married couples today are less likely to have children than they were in the past, and single parent households are also much more common. In 1974, a married couple headed 84% of all families with children. 84% of all families with children were couples, and married couples at that. While in 2015, only about 2/3 or 65.5% of families with children were headed by married couples. Now, I don't know if that means that, they were just living together and they had children. So it doesn't really break that down. And then Jane Glimp goes on and says that, from 1974 to 2015, the rate of families with children headed by a single mother nearly doubled from 14.6% to 26.4%. So that's 74 to 15 now, 1974, 2015. But then she ends it off by saying, while the rate of single fatherhood quadrupled from 1.4% to 8.1%. That is a drastic number. And you know what I'm saying, to go up. You're talking about quadrupled over that time. So while women doubled, men really quadrupled up. So times are changing. You can't just sit there and say, oh, that's the norm. Men go to work, women stay at home. You shouldn't change that. I'm going to talk about a little change that happened back in the day with me. In New York City, we had this term. I don't know if it was anyplace else, but in New York City, we had this term called metrosexual. So those were the guys like myself that I like to get my damn, manicures and pedicures. All right. I like to get my hair, my nails done, my feet done. And it bugged out because I would literally be sitting in the nail salon, getting my nails done, getting my feet done, and women will just bug out. They will look at me like crazy and strange. And I think the metrosexual thing to me was just us men being comfortable no matter what we were. It didn't have to mean that we were gay. Didn't have to mean that we wanted anything else than to be ourselves. What it meant is that we wasn't taking care of ourselves like women did. We wasn't dealing with, getting pampered. We wasn't doing the massage, right? Because if a man went to go get a massage, he got that happy ending. That was understand this. That is the thinking. All right. So when man went to a massage, this is what society said, so why couldn't we take care of ourselves? Why couldn't we pamper ourselves? So let's go to the same thing with being a single stay-at-home father. If you're a stay-at-home father, society should not tell you that you're a punk. Society should not tell you that you're soft. Society should not tell you that you can't do that or not supposed to do that. Why not? Because look at over time. I mean, how many fathers have lost time with their children? And next thing you know, you done turned around and you done been, the whole aspect of, I didn't go to the baseball game because I had to work. I didn't see him at his recital at school because I had to work. I didn't do this, I didn't do that with them because I had to work. Hey, the choices that we're making now to become stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home fathers are choices that we know result from love. It results the whole aspect of us understanding that we need to be at home with our sons, with our daughters, and, we need to just spend that time with them. And I think that that's the key to increasing our relationship with our children growing up and not getting into trouble, not getting into these things that the father's present. So for years, we always heard that fathers need to do more. Fathers are doing more. Stay-at-home dads are really growing. And I think that understanding that from a key point of a societal norm will increase our, definition of community and family. Because now we're all pitching in and to do our part. So once again, Conversations with Dre. Hit me up, man. I want to know what you really think. You can go to the website there. Follow me on Facebook. I got Instagram. I got Twitter. Hit me up on those things and let me know what you guys that are stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home fathers like myself. Let's have a conversation. And single women, if you want to chime in, give your opinion. I want to hear from you guys. All right. DraytonJackson.com. This is Drayton Jackson, Conversations with Dre. and we are on our Father Empowerment series. Until the next time, empower Father, and fathers, you get empowered. Peace. Conversations with Dre is intended for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this show by its hosts do not represent the views, positions, and opinions of Family Day Foundation, For You Entertainment TV, and its affiliates.